4D Santa in a Fireplace Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everybody! In today's video I have a extreme 4D fireplace that has a little Santa Claus that you can pull down and he gets his little toes burnt by the fire. And really quick, I just want to apologize for the timing when my Christmas preview was uploaded. It was uploaded in October, exactly 1 month before I was supposed to, because I schedule all my videos ahead of time and I had one of those wonderful little issues there, which seemed to be really prevalent at that time, that I was having technical errors. But anyways, that's why that happened then. I apologize. But anyways, this was one of the most requested videos from that preview way back when, so I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to all my future videos as well. Bye!
Begin with an overlay of shimmery brown acrylic, or whatever color you want your fireplace to be in the end. I decided to keep the background just the same color as the fireplace, so it just blended in and all of that good stuff. So apply a very thin layer of that acrylic over the background, and then encase the nail with a layer of clear acrylic to make it nice and strong. Doesn't have to be anything too thick in general, but see, a lot of my designs, the 3D work, I think adds some strength to them, but there isn't really that much that's directly built on top of this nail. It's all done separately and then kind of almost precariously glued on and attached before it's secured. So you do want to make sure that this nail has some good strength in the base of it. Then I'm going to be filing the nail into shape with my E-file, starting out with a coarse bit to remove any bulk and then switching to a finer bit just to smooth everything out and make it very easy to work on. Plus, I also think that for finished filing, a flat barrel bit is really the way to go, or a straight barrel bit. And then I'm going to, with that, like I said, same shades of brown, I'm going to start sculpting my fireplace. And this is definitely a sort of a tedious task because you have to make all of these separate little pieces and it takes some patience. So start out with your first little piece here and you're making almost like a staple shape. So like 3 sides of a square. Just work on them. Use your brush. Continually press the sides in together. The reason that this is so tedious is because you want straight lines. And you have to keep adjusting your lines because they start to spread and then you have to re-straighten them out and so on and so forth. So that's the first piece, and that you want to be quite thick. Then add little second layers on the 2 sides that are thinner. So not thinner right to left, but thinner up and down. So it's harder to see in the video exactly what I'm saying, but you can see that there's a ridge there. Then you're going to want to add the chimney flue above that. So just a nice little straight, make that area big enough that your little Santa will fit inside of it. The next line you're making is going to be for the mantle. So you want to line it up so it's slightly longer than your fireplace is wide. And then these little areas I'm making on the sides, you're going to need 2 of these. These you want to be the same height as your fireplace and the same width each one of them. And that's going to be the little spacer that keeps your fireplace away from the nail. So it creates a gap for where your Santa will be underneath. You're going to need to add those same 2 little shapes for next to the chimney. So add those, same thing, the same height as your chimney is tall, same width about as those other spacers that you made. And now this next piece we're making is going to be for the bottom, the floor of your fireplace. And with that one, make a little indent in the middle of it for where the wire will come through. Like I said, that part is tedious and probably the most time-consuming element of this whole design. The next part of this is we're going to be assembling our fireplace, and this is much like something that you buy at IKEA. There's really no instructions. You just have to kind of use some common sense and go with it. So I started out by gluing all of those little spacers to the back of the major piece or the main piece of fireplace. Just grab those, grab some nail glue. A tweezers is a big help with this kind of a project, and just hold them there until they are secure enough to let go. Make sure you don't glue your tweezers down either, because that's something I definitely do when I'm working on a project like this. But just, hold them there. Sometimes it takes a couple goes. I am a terrible person with nail glue. I'll glue the wrong thing to what I'm working on. Like, I don't know if you saw that. I just glued that little spacer piece to my finger instead of to the fireplace. So just hold that there until it sets up, just like that, and then keep going. Glue all of those little spacers. There's the next one. It's a process for sure. And the reason I included all of this extra kind of, I don't want to say failure footage, but the footage where things weren't going right is because I have gotten a couple comments recently saying that it seems like I've gotten better with nail glue, and that's not the case. I've gotten better with video editing. I've been getting better with editing out the parts where I glue things to the wrong area. So I just wanted to correct any misconceptions there. And then afterwards, you're going to want to glue your whole fireplace to the nail. and then glue on the other couple pieces. So glue on that little bottom piece to the end of your fireplace. Add extra nail glue to secure it where you need to, just like so. And this isn't very secure or very strong at this point. All this nail glue is very precarious. It's very delicate. So just bear that in mind, that if you drop this guy, you're probably going to break it at this particular moment. And then after you have that done, you're going to want to go through with more brown acrylic and just start securing everything together. So as you can see, there's a pretty big gap on my sides of my fireplace. And just build it up with brown acrylic so that, use a little bit at a time and just sort of fill it in. Kind of keep working on it, go from side to side. And the acrylic isn't going to want to exactly stay there, especially if your gap is as large as mine is. But, work on it piece by piece to try to get it to fill in those areas. And eventually it will. It just takes some patience. Like I said, this design takes a lot of patience. So know that going into it. This is actually one of my longest videos on my channel. Most of my videos they're right around 10 minutes, and this one has an extra 3 minutes of footage. So that's quite a bit, all things considered. Just keep adding all those little things there from side to side and fill in all of those gaps. And if you wanted to, instead of doing something as tedious as I am, you could make extra little pieces on your nail form backing to secure on the sides if you needed to. Or just from the beginning, make your spacers a little taller. That would also work. That probably would have been easier. Just go through and fill all those in. And as you're doing this, you're also going to want to secure all of the little places that you've glued together, all of those little spots, so that they're not just glue, they have some acrylic for some strength. And then after you have all of that, you're going to want to add some yellow in the back of your fireplace as a little yellow glow. So you can kind of just blend it out. It doesn't have to be a very solid shape, just some glow for where the fire is. And then with some really glittery green, I'm going to be adding some little greenery around my mantle. And then I'm going to take some rhinestones and add a rhinestone here or there for a little, a little ornament. I used kind of a warm gold color for my rhinestones going across. And then on a nail form backing, once again, we're going to be sculpting all of our fun little things that we're decorating our fireplace with, as well as our Santa's legs. So there is Santa's legs, the start of them. Kind of another one of those staple shapes, or this one actually reminds me more of a molar, a tooth. So add that with red, and then you're going to make a couple little stockings to hang on your fireplace. I did those with green. Right now they just look like blobs. You can kind of, as they begin to set up, you can arrange them a little bit so that they look more like the stockings that you want them to. Just push them around a little bit. The great thing with working on top of a nail form backing is that you have a little bit more time to adjust things on your acrylic, because the nail form backing is slippery enough that your acrylic slides around easily. So even as it's getting really close to being set up, if you need to fix something, you can. And then with white acrylic, I'm going to go across and add the little fur trim on my Santa Claus, on his pants. Just going right across the middle, just like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my stockings, add a little bit of a fur trim on the top of them. Very tiny little beads of acrylic to work on that. And then the last thing you have to do for your Santa is sculpt his boots with black. And it doesn't have to take too much, just two little black shoes. Just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then on a nail form backing, again, I'm going to be sculpting my little fire. So you're going to take some yellow acrylic to begin with and sculpt your fire shape. Keep in mind how big your fireplace is, and you want to make sure that all of these things that you're sculpting are proportionally correct. The other thing you want to keep in mind is that your Santa has to be smaller than your fireplace chimney is. So you have to kind of eyeball that, and if it's too big, you're going to have to either file it down or start over. So just be cautious that that doesn't happen. Now I'm going to be gluing my stockings to my fireplace mantle, just like so. They're so cute. This whole design has so much teeny tiny detail in it that it takes your mind, I think it takes your mind a minute to register exactly what you're seeing, because there's just so much happening on a small space. I painted a wire with some yellow one-step polish, so it kind of blends in with the fireplace behind it, glued that to my Santa's legs. Then you can slide that through so it goes through the hole in the bottom of the fireplace that we created back in the beginning. Trim off any extra wire, and then glue a yellow or gold bead to the bottom so it can't pop out. And then we're going to take and define all of our fun little details with some black paint. With diluted black paint, I added a shadow around the base of my fireplace. And then I'm going to go through with full strength black and add all the details to the bricks of my fireplace. So we start by just outlining them, going down. And when you paint bricks, if you've never done it before, you need to first just make your horizontal lines going across. And then when you make your vertical lines, you need to stagger them. So they're not just, it's not like a grid going across. It's each one has its own little spot, so you can see them all individually, and they're, like I said, staggered. Just add those going across. Painting bricks is something I actually find I love to do it. So I was very excited to get to paint them in this design. The first time I painted bricks was so long ago. It was before my videos had voiceovers. And I don't know if that video is still even on YouTube, but I had little monsters and bricks. That was my design. Probably when I was 15 or younger. Hard to say. But just go through and add them. I've always loved painting bricks. And then after you have that, I'm going to add some gold highlights on each brick. The thing with painting them is that you can have different colors. If you wanted to, you could make them a little bit more red or a little more gray. There's all sorts of colors of bricks. You could definitely change up their tone. I decided to add a little bit of that gold highlight on them. But if you wanted to switch it to a different color, that would definitely be possible. You just want to define each one so they show up really well and add as much detail as you can. Just like that. And then you can add a little bit of a highlight on your fire with yellow, some white highlights on this middle of Santa's, or the fur trim on Santa, some red highlights on Santa's little pants there as well. And if you wanted to add those details on Santa prior to putting this all together, that would probably be easier. I don't always do things the easy way. Add some details on your stockings, and then apply a glossy gel sealer to the background, and cure it, and some matte top coat over little bits here and there. Just some matte and some glossy. I think that just adds some extra elements to your design, and you can use your discretion to figure out what you want to be which. A little bit of matte top coat on Santa, and you're all done. I love this design. It is so dimensional, and there's just, like I said, so much to see on it that I think that is a lot of fun. I love it. I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and here is a Melody Minutes.
Do your ogre walk. Throw me the other one. Melody, throw me the one in your hand. Throw it. Throw it.
Ooh, fancy. That is her favorite game. So I hope you guys like watching this video. I hope you like my design as well, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!